Falcons fans, let's talk big news. Hey Falcons fans, we've got some exciting rumors flying around, and you won't want to miss this. But before we dive in, hit that like button if you're hoping to see Atlanta in the Super Bowl this season. Now, let's get straight to it. There's a wild trade rumor making waves, and it could shake up not just the Falcons, but the entire NFL. The buzz? The Seattle Seahawks might be looking to make a blockbuster trade with Atlanta. But here's the twist. It's not for Michael Penix Jr. Instead, Seattle is rumored to be interested in veteran quarterback Kirk Cousins. Yep, you heard that right. Why would Seattle want Cousins? Last year, there were reports that the Seahawks wanted to trade up into the top 10 to draft Michael Penix Jr. They denied it later, but if that rumor had any truth to it, it means they weren't completely sold on Geno Smith as their long-term quarterback. Fast forward to today, and there's still talk that Seattle might be looking for a change at quarterback. That's where this latest trade prediction comes in. WSN's Marissa Myers believes Seattle could go after Cousins because of his connection with Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak. If you don't remember, Kubiak was Cousins' offensive coordinator in Minnesota, and they had success together. Back then, the Vikings' offense ranked 12th in total yards, 14th in scoring, and 11th in passing. Kubiak knows how to get the best out of Cousins, so on paper, this move makes some sense for Seattle. But would this trade actually work? Let's be real. This deal wouldn't be easy to pull off. Here's why. Cousins' age. He's turning 37 before the season starts. If Seattle is looking for a long-term quarterback, Cousins isn't the answer. His performance in 2024, he started strong but fell apart at the end of the season. In his last 5 starts, he threw just 1 touchdown and a brutal 9 interceptions. That slump got him benched in favor of Penix, and now the Falcons are moving forward with the rookie. His massive contract. Cousins signed a 4-year, $180 million deal last offseason. His contract comes with a $40 million cap hit this year and an insane $57.5 million hit in 2026 and 2027. Unless the Falcons agree to cover a big chunk of that salary, which seems unlikely, this trade wouldn't make sense for Seattle financially. What's in it for Atlanta? From the Falcons' point of view, trading Cousins could make sense if they're fully committed to Penix as their future QB. But the question remains, would they really be willing to move on from a veteran quarterback so soon? What do you think? Should the Falcons consider trading Cousins, or is this just another wild rumor? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments. Should the Falcons move on from Kirk Cousins? If the Falcons truly believe Michael Penix Jr. is ready to take over as the full-time starter, trading Kirk Cousins would make a lot of sense. Getting his massive contract off the books would free up a ton of salary cap space to address other needs. But here's the problem. Who's actually willing to take on that deal? Seattle? Probably not. Even if the Seahawks think Cousins is a better fit for Clint Kubiak's system than Geno Smith, does it really make sense to swap a younger, cheaper quarterback for an older, expensive one? Not really. If this trade somehow happened, Seahawks fans would lose their minds. And honestly, I wouldn't blame them. What do you think, Falcons fans? Now, it's your turn. Should Atlanta move on from Cousins and fully commit to Penix? And if so, do you think any team would actually be willing to take on that giant contract? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Looking ahead. The NFL Draft. Now let's shift gears to the NFL Draft. We're still a couple of months away, and let's be real. Predicting what the Falcons will do at pick number 15 is like throwing darts while blindfolded. But one thing most fans agree on? Atlanta needs to go defense. How long have we been begging for an impact edge rusher? It feels like forever. But hold on. Falcons beat writer Josh Kendall just threw a curveball into the conversation. He recently brought up the idea that Atlanta could draft an offensive player in the first round. Yeah, I can already hear some of you yelling at the screen, but let's break this down. On the morning shift, host Mike Johnson asked Kendall if drafting an offensive player would send Falcons fans into a frenzy. Kendall agreed, but made a solid point. Look at how teams like the Eagles have built success. through the trenches. Could an offensive pick actually be smart? His argument? If an elite offensive lineman is still available at pick 15, the Falcons should consider taking him. And listen, I get it. Falcons fans are tired of hearing, "We're just one piece away." We've gone through the cycle of thinking an elite QB will fix everything. A generational tight end will fix everything. A dynamic running back will fix everything. But will stacking the trenches finally be the move that puts Atlanta over the top? Let's talk about it. Would you be okay with the Falcons drafting an offensive player, or is it defense or bust? Drop your thoughts below. Is this the draft where Atlanta finally builds the O-line? Here we are, still searching for that missing piece. Could this be the year the Falcons focus on strengthening the offensive line instead of other needs? If Atlanta goes this route, they'd likely look for a right tackle to protect Michael Penix Jr.'s blind side long-term, an interior lineman who can play center. And guess what? There are some intriguing first-round prospects who fit that mold. Top O-line prospects to watch: Will Campbell, considered the top offensive line prospect, but he plays left tackle. Could he switch to the right side? That's a tough ask. Armin Mims, ranked 8th overall by some analysts. He played right tackle in college and could be a major upgrade over Caleb McGarry. Josh Simmons was battling Campbell for the top tackle spot before a knee injury ended his season. If he's healthy, he's a name to watch. Tyler Booker, a dominant All-American guard. Could the Falcons convert him to center? Tough call, but an interesting idea. How does the current O-line situation impact this? One big factor: Drew Dalman's free agency. If Atlanta re-signs Dalman, they'd be bringing back the same starting five for a third straight season, a rare level of stability in the NFL. If they let him walk, the need for an interior lineman becomes even bigger. And then there's Caleb McGarry. If the Falcons draft a right tackle, does that mean they're moving on from him? If so, cap space and roster construction could get tricky. O-line or pass rusher? The debate continues. Look, I get it. Most Falcons fans are screaming for a pass rusher, not another offensive lineman. And trust me, I hear you. But let's not dismiss this idea completely. Protecting Michael Penix Jr. is just as important as getting pressure on opposing quarterbacks. So now, it's over to you. Would you be furious if Atlanta drafted an offensive lineman in round 1? Or would you be on board with building the trenches? Let me know in the comments. Should the Falcons draft O-line or focus on defense? If the Falcons draft an offensive lineman at number 15, would you be on board? Or do you think building through the trenches is the right call? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Now, let's shift to the defensive side of the ball. The Falcons' defense still needs work. We all know Atlanta's defense improved in 2024, finishing 8-9 in Raheem Morris's first season. But let's be real, there's still work to do. 23rd in total defense, 22nd against the pass, 15th against the run. Not exactly championship numbers, right? Could Jermaine Pratt be the answer? Here's where it gets interesting. Bengals linebacker Jermaine Pratt has officially requested a trade, according to Ian Rappaport. If you don't know much about Pratt, let me break it down. Tackling machine, at least 75 tackles every season since 2019, 2024 stats, 143 tackles, 10th in the NFL. Proven playmaker in the middle of the defense. How he fits in Atlanta. The Falcons could be losing Nate Landman to free agency, and while Troy Anderson is still under contract, injuries have been a major concern. That leaves Caden Ellis as the only proven inside linebacker heading into 2025. Ellis was a beast last season, finishing with 151 tackles, second in the NFL. Imagine pairing him with Pratt. That's a legit playmaking duo in the middle of the field. Does this trade make sense? Pratt has 1 year left on his contract at $7.99 million, which isn't a crazy number for a player of his caliber. The Falcons have cap space, and adding a proven veteran like Pratt could provide the stability this defense desperately needs. Of course, it all depends on what the Bengals are asking for. If Atlanta can land him for a reasonable price, this move makes a lot of sense. What do you think, Falcons fans? Should Atlanta go after Jermaine Pratt? Would he be the missing piece for this defense, or should the Falcons look elsewhere? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And before you go, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more Falcons news. The offseason is just getting started. Go Falcons on fire!